Today we're going to be talking about wide receivers that you can find in the later rounds in your drafts that have a lot of upside at their current ADPs. But before we get started, if you can hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach our goal of 100 subscribers by the time NFL season kicks off, and we can't do that without your help. Let's get into it. All right, today we're talking about wide receivers that have a lot of upside at their current ADPs. You can find these guys in the later rounds in your drafts, and some of these guys are even going undrafted. So let's dive right in. And the first guy I want to talk about here is Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk got signed by the Jaguars over this past offseason, making him a top 20 paid wide receiver in the NFL. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I expect this offense to look a whole lot better than they did last season under head coach Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer really hindered the performance of this team to the point where Trevor Lawrence went to him on the sideline during a game, asking him why James Robinson wasn't in the game. So I expect this offense to look a whole lot different this season, and I like the upside for Christian Kirk. The next guy I want to talk about is Jalen Talbert. He got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys in the 2021 NFL draft, and he got drafted into a really good situation with the Cowboys being very thin at the wide receiver position. They got CeeDee Lamb, and then after that, there's really no one available, especially to start off the season with Michael Gallup working his way back from an ACL injury. So Jalen Talbert has a great opportunity to be involved week 1 and be the wide receiver 2 for a team very thin at the wide receiver position. So I really like Jalen Talbert. He's a great value at his current ADP. The next wide receiver I want to talk about is Julio Jones. Julio Jones signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over this past offseason, and he's in a pretty good situation right now. Chris Godwin is slowly working his way back from an ACL injury, so I expect Julio Jones to be involved in this offense early on. I understand Julio Jones does deal with injuries throughout the year. He usually deals with a hamstring injury, turf toe, so I understand he has the injury-prone tag on him, but I think he can be very involved early on, and if he can stay healthy, we know this guy's an elite wide receiver. Especially if he does good the first couple weeks, you have someone that you can trade and help make your team better, so I don't mind targeting Julio Jones in the later rounds in drafts. The next wide receiver I want to talk about is wide receiver for the Houston Texans, Nico Collins. Nico Collins is going into his second season in the NFL and has a great opportunity to solidify his role as the wide receiver 2 for the Houston Texans. He's been looking pretty good in training camp and preseason, making some good contested catches, and I feel like this can translate into the season and can make him fantasy relevant. This guy's pretty much going undrafted in a lot of leagues and is a great value. So Nico Collins is someone I don't mind grabbing in drafts. The last wide receiver I want to talk about today is rookie wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce was drafted into a pretty good situation with the Indianapolis Colts being pretty thin at the wide receiver position. They have Michael Pittman, but after that point, they have Zach Pascal and Paris Campbell. But I think Alec Pierce has a great opportunity to solidify his role as the wide receiver 2 for the Colts. He has Matt Ryan throwing the ball to him, which we know Matt Ryan can produce fantasy wide receivers. So I think Alec Pierce has a great opportunity to be fantasy relevant this season, and he's pretty much going undrafted in a lot of leagues. So I don't mind leaving the draft with Alec Pierce. But that's going to do it for us today. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, line them up!